Oh man, I get off the internet for the weekend and I'm missing out on some of the best Doctor Who literally ever. Steven Moffat returning to the fold with boom, and it is an absolute banger, guys. Oh my god, Doctor Who is back. Doctor Who is taking itself seriously. Ncuti Gatwa isn't an embarrassment to the role. Oh wait, no, this is just once again the hack media, the shill media outlets just once again trying to make Doctor Who a thing when in actuality it's not. It's dead. It's done. It's dusted. Stop trying to make Ncuti Gatwa a thing. He's never going to be a thing. But let's hear what some of the shills have to say. Doctor Who's new era just got its first banger after 4 episodes. 4th episode of Ncuti Gatwa's run, because you remember you had the Christmas episode, the lowest viewed in series history, and then you had the beginning of his season, a 2-part affair that were the lowest viewed debuts of a Doctor outside of the series debut in 1963. But don't worry, guys, this one's a banger. It's going to be great. Boom sees former showrunner Steven Moffat return in fine form with a tense, bittersweet example of Doctor Who at its best. Okay? There are a certain amount of expectations when you say the words a Steven Moffat episode of Doctor Who. Yeah, those same expectations were afforded when you would hear the words a Russell T Davies episode of Doctor Who, but that reputation, it got flushed down the toilet very, very quickly. Over his tenure as a regular writer and then as a series showrunner for the better part of 7 seasons, Moffat developed a house style to his detractors, a preponderance of questionable mysteries and twists to his defenders, a penchant for tight, twisting thrillers and fairy tale darkness, which, yeah, that's true for people who have been following the franchise for a very long time. Some of Steven Moffat's episodes, I do believe he was the showrunner during the Matt Smith era, which is highly regarded. That is during, the halcyon days when Doctor Who was at its global peak of awareness and viewership. Now, not so much. It's something that just gets it. Boom gets it. Well, that's fantastic, right? Set on the alien battlefield in the far-flung future, Moffat's return to Doctor Who in this new age of splashy Disney budgets, which I just wanted to read that piece. I don't really care about the spoilers or anything like that because I think that it's far more important just to see the media try to spin this as an absolute victory and then compare and contrast that to the people that actually watched it and had their own opinion on it because, hey guys, don't worry, okay? Next week, next Saturday, strap yourself in because Doctor Who's 73 yards, Dr. Light episode 4 is so nearly flawless. Oh yeah, right, because next week, because all the shill outlets, they already got their early screeners, and trust us guys, this one's fantastic. You know that chick that can barely act and isn't exactly a boon for the series? She's going to be carrying this entire episode, and guys, it's the best one to date. Wow, okay, so you're telling me the best part about Doctor Who is everything that's not the Doctor? Not exactly the win that you think it is, but okay, weird way to market it. Okay, apparently Ncuti Gatwa, he's far better suited to being on the cover of Time magazine. Next generation leaders, Ncuti Gatwa, the new face of Doctor Who, and 10 more trailblazers wearing skirts. It's a kilt. No, man, I'm Scottish. That ain't no kilt. It doesn't have the little gimmick in the front. No, I'm not talking about his detachable junk. But the critics and the shills, oh my god, they absolutely love it. Look at that, 94%. 94% review on Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh. It is an absolute banger. Compared to the, 31% from the audience. But what do they know? They're just a bunch of racist bigot trolls that just need to go outside and touch grass. And if they don't like the Doctor Who that Russell T Davies, Ncuti Gatwa, and now Steven Moffat are delivering to your screens via the BBC or via Disney Plus, you can simply turn off the TV. In the words of Jinx Monsoon, the series-long villain, I mean, nothing quite screams a Doctor Who for everyone like a tiny black Rwandan doctor who just simply talks all about his gayness, squaring off against a drag queen. Nothing quite says we're here for everybody like that scenario. But I mean, without further ado, Boom might be a banger. 73 yards might be a terrific follow-up, but the series is dead, guys. Like, let's take a look at the ratings, okay? Now that we have the official ratings. We have the official ratings of Ncuti Gatwa's first outings official, okay? The 2-part episode. Yeah, remember? Do you remember The overnights for episodes 1 and 2, the two-parter, it was down 200,000 eyeballs. 200,000 eyeballs when they were aired back to back, meaning that enough people got their fill of the first episode of the weirdly CGI looking babies and the boogie monster, a literal monster made out of nose pickings. Okay, just they didn't want to turn out for the second episode, which name eludes me at this point in time, but 200,000 people turned out, and then you take a look at that overnight for boom, the return of Steven Moffat. Guys, this is going to be great. 400,000 people couldn't even be bothered to come back around. It's done. It's absolutely done. But then you look at the consolidated numbers, it couldn't even double. It couldn't even double with the +7s, meaning that there was an additional week for people to check this stuff out. And guess what? They didn't. It's done. It's airing in prime time. What's your excuse going to be this time around? What's your excuse going to be? Oh, it was another great weekend and people just didn't want to sit inside right after dinner and watch, just a time-honored classic in the form of Doctor Who. Nobody wanted to do that anymore. I don't understand. How many times, given the fact that this is only a 8-episode season, and at the end of next week it's going to be the halfway point, and then are they even going to be able to break 2 million overnight? I doubt it, man. But to really drive this home, looking at the show media, angry fans openly misinterpret Doctor Who viewership data, calling the series woke and unwatchable despite praise from critics. See, that's the problem. That's the problem right there. The critics love it, but people don't care what the critics have to say. It's kind of like the death of the movie star. There's a point in time when people see enough of these individuals, hear enough about what they have to say about their upcoming projects, and understand that they're not here for you. They're not here to entertain you. They're here to push their own personal projects. They're here to push their own messaging. And that's all that Ncuti Gatwa has talked about. That's all that Russell T Davies has talked about. Hell, it might have, I don't know what Steven Moffat's been up to, but it's kind of like the X-Men 97 situation where more people watched Echo than watched X-Men 97. Hear great things about it. I also hear that it just talks a lot about interpersonal drama, which is exactly what I want out of my X-Men series. There's a reason nobody watched it and more people ended up watching Echo at the beginning of the year as opposed to X-Men 97. You could have a real banger on your hands. Don't know, haven't heard much about Boom because everybody was turned off mostly by the 60th anniversary specials, and then they thought, maybe once we get the nostalgia goggles off and that we have the proper reboot, okay, the proper and arrival of the 15th Doctor, things will really start to, oh no, wait, it's actually even worse than what we were seeing during the specials, okay? Doctor Who is done and dusted. Is it woke? Yes. Is it unwatchable? Just take a look at the numbers, man. There's no other way that you can interpret this data. Just simply run it back, man. You get the overnights. You see that, oh boy, yeah, you better hope that good word of mouth ends up spreading any sort of hope that you have. But then when you go from a 2.4 to a 4.01, that's not good word of mouth. And from a 2.2 to not breaking 4, it's done. It's buried, it's dusted. But of course, like a Gizmodo said right there, with splashy new Disney budgets, Disney has already greenlighted this series for 2 seasons. Okay, so you're going to get 2 half-quarter truncated seasons of Doctor Who. I'm pretty sure it's 2 8-episode seasons, right? Where Millie Gibson, the person who apparently carries 73 yards, ends up getting replaced by an older Indian model. I don't know if she's a model. Some angles doesn't really look like she'd fit in any magazines outside of Fishing Weekly. Somebody who has been characterized as an attractive plank of wood. Find it very hard to believe that she's going to be a beacon of storytelling. Hell, okay, maybe that you have the big, well, in Ncuti Gatwa's case, nothing's big with him. Pause. Do you have the flamboyant twink in the room? The big flamboyant twink in the room. There we go. That's what I wanted to say on that one. Maybe the fact that he's, just taken out of the equation for a second. Maybe it's a little bit more tolerable. But what are you left with? Somebody who hasn't been at the top of his game. I'm talking about Russell T Davies, the writer and showrunner. He hasn't been on top of his game for a very long time. When he came out with the 60th anniversary specials, right? The first one was supposed to be for kids, and it was very heavy-handed with the messaging. And the second one was supposed to be for adults, by wide margins believed to be the most tolerable, because the third of the 3 anniversary specials just completely and totally shat on the lore. But the second one was fine. It wasn't quite as overt with his messaging, but that's the thing. If your high watermark is a 3, that's what you proved. That's what you've proven in recent history. Why should anybody give you the benefit of the doubt on this one? Okay, this is just simply a microcosm of every other one of your franchises that's out there right now. When you continue to just run it into the ground, take it from entertainment to a political pulpit, you end up at a certain amount of time. Other franchises have a little bit more leeway, but they all eventually come to this conclusion: sheer apathy. There were a few times during the Jodie Whittaker era, especially, with the send-off. People came back, all right? The power of the Doctor, the regeneration, they finally wanted to see Ding Dong, the witch is dead. So yeah, 1.9 million more people, just about 2 million more people tuned in for that one. But then, as you can see, all the goodwill just eventually slid down and completely and totally cratered with a 2 million overnight. Sucks, man. Sucks for people that are longtime fans of this franchise, but I've also been hearing from longtime fans of the franchise, and they're just kind of resigned to the fact that, yep, we like Doctor Who, but we have our epochs in time, or we'll go back. We can just, enjoy certain Doctors for what they are, but when it comes to continuing this franchise, just stop it. You're just doing brand damage at this point in time, and that right there is exactly what we're seeing with these numbers. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.